Are
Or
we doing rapper names or real names?
up to you guys.
Real rap shit. Do you mind if I freestyle?
Go for it. Can bring up a beat.
No, I'm just kidding. I can't do this.
And welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. I'm sat here today with Rez and Hugs, together nodashi as a producer duo. And to start off, we're going to listen to Bass.
Das ist ein Erdbeben, oh shit, ein Earthquake. Battle, weil wir Wasser leben. Pop dein Tab, okay. Es ist Party in der Gegend und wir zwei sind Outer Space, yo. Outer Space, Zip aus Double Cup, okay. Ich hab linke Hand an Jay, rechte Hand an ihrem A. Und mein Bro put up mit zwei Biddies, das ist ein Trio, ey. Mein Black kommt mit Zauberkraut, hat er eins im Bio, ey.
And that was Bass by nodashi. Why have you guys chosen to do production as a duo as opposed to just separately? Like, what's the idea behind nodashi?
I think I peddled this idea to Gus because both of us didn't know anyone else who made music,
Right.
and I'm a person who really relies on like someone to bounce ideas off of, and so I just thought it'd be a good idea to just have someone who also is motivated to do the thing with you, so that whenever you're like have a down day,
Mhm.
they can be like, "Oh, dude, what if we just did the thing?" And then once it started building, it also really works in like the German rap scene to have two people following one image, just to have music constantly coming out.
Right.
Because like either of us will at some point be focusing on our own artist music or like something else. And during that phase, the other person can be like taking the brunt of the work
Yeah.
for the nodashi project. And so there's never a down period.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're doing it alone, like you might just be down for a couple months because
Yeah.
whatever happened. And if you don't have someone to like stem that, suddenly your music project starts to slow down, and then you might lose motivation a bit, and you also don't have someone to like. He relies on me, and I rely on him.
Mhm.
So like if I don't perform, I'm not only like disrespecting myself, but I'm also disrespecting Gus.
Yeah, it's like an extra motivation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It does a lot.
It does. Yeah, I think it's very important that we work as a duo because it just right, as you said, there's more accountability
Mhm.
to be had for your output.
Yeah.
And it's just because I like more air of motivation.
Yeah.
I think that's worked pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like in like the scene we're in, which is like just connecting to like whatever rapper wants to work with us.
Mhm.
It's nice to have two different personalities
Right.
who
You can be like, this fits more with you.
exactly, because like
Mhm.
all of these rappers are like super different in the head, and they like different stuff, and like we're both pretty good at getting along with everyone, but like sometimes it's just nice to have another personality be like, oh, actually, this guy really likes you,
Mhm.
so you guys can work more together. Whereas if it was just me, maybe him and I just don't have that much in common, and then it doesn't flow as much. But as soon as you're there with it, also for like a first session,
Yeah, it's pretty delicate.
yeah, and like if you're just meeting a guy and like sometimes the chemistry's there, but sometimes it takes a while. And if
Yeah.
you just have like a backup person who's just there to like fill the gaps and just make the other person feel a bit more comfortable,
Mhm.
and the two of us can just talk, and
Yeah.
rapper guy can listen and like start feeling comfortable and get into
Yeah.
the session.
Yeah.
You usually try to do first sessions where you're together, so you can kind of do that and just play it by ear, or is it more like
Yeah,
whatever's
usually
available? Right.
we haven't met a lot of new artists recently. Actually,
Mhm.
we've been like we have like our little network of guys that we know.
Yeah.
But for that, like usually whenever we have a new artist in, we try to get a session going together.
Mhm. How do you usually find new artists, or how have you built the network that you do have?
I mean, Instagram mostly.
Right.
And then word of mouth as well. Like all the people that we work with, they all know each other already.
Mhm.
So like when they would come in and they'd enjoy the working experience and the environment, they'd like post it and tell people about it. And then like a lot of times when people show up for the first time, they'd be like, "Oh, this is where this is,"
Yeah.
and like I've been trying to record here.
I saw this shit on Instagram.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah. When you're setting up like a first session with a new artist, are you usually working from scratch or are you setting beats ahead of time? Like, what's your usual process for that?
Usually scratch, like not scratch, because like most of hip hop production is like the way it's set up right now, which is really practical for like a fast workflow.
Mhm.
Is most guys like us will know a bunch of other producers who make loops and samples,
Yeah.
and so usually the way like a session goes is like you have the rapper come in, hang out, they smoke a bunch of weed, then everyone's having a good time, and then you just start listening to samples,
Mhm.
and that way you already have like if you're going fully from scratch, it's hard to have them catch the vibe right away. Cause like
Yeah.
even if you make something that like other people might really like every one of these guys is really specific with the kind of stuff they like, but if you have a whole sample, like a whole arrangement
Mhm.
that you can just press play on and then chop up and make a whatever kind of beat they're into from
Yeah.
that, really eases the workflow and makes sure that they're happy with what's going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It also improves the experience for the artist a lot because they're seeing like a product being custom made for them like
Yeah.
way quicker than it usually would be if we're making everything from scratch.
Yeah.
So often, yeah, we'll have things ready
Mhm. Are you guys
beforehand.
like, because you're producing together, but presumably on like one laptop or one computer?
No, we're pretty separate in that
Oh,
we
okay.
I use FL and he uses Logic, and
Right.
we live together in our VG, and we both have separate studios as well.
Right.
So which also ties in well with the whole personalized to certain artists thing, because
Mhm.
some prefer his room, some prefer
Yeah.
mine, or it's just
Yeah, and
different
usually
vibes.
they'll just like when we're doing stuff together, there'll just be one guy on like if we're in my room, it's my laptop. If we're in his room, it's his. And then like one of us will be doing all the tech shit, and the other guy will just be in the back, just throwing out ideas,
Mhm.
and then be like, "Oh, I got like an idea for a thing. Let me play that in."
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
For the Deutschrap scene, is it kind of like you feel like staying here and developing that is the main goal for Nodashi, or do you see like the US as a end goal or anything like that?
I mean, there's a lot of money to be made there,
Yeah.
definitely
But also
more
more competition,
than here.
maybe, I think?
I mean, it depends because there's a lot of there's a big chunk of the producer community here that's whole thing is sending stuff over to the US to get placements,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's definitely a doable thing.
Mhm.
We have the luxury of German producers have the highest street cred in hip hop, like by far.
Also with sample making, right? That's like a
Yeah, like
big
that's
thing
Yeah.
the
as
whole
well.
thing. Like every like we're basically doing the job of trap producers in the US, which is like you just get samples from cool dudes and just quickly make a beat to it.
Yeah.
Uh, but you can also be those guys in Germany who just send out these samples.
Mhm.
But it's just really difficult to like I don't know. I've never managed to like really connect with an artist without having them in a studio
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
me.
Doing stuff online is super weird to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's never worked well for me at all.
and like I don't know. I don't know how to like convey personality over Instagram and like I
Yeah.
want something from you and
Yeah. Also, it's really difficult to get like a check on, is this person like a regular person who's trying to make music, or are they just like completely just
Tweaking.
DMing like
Ye
200 people a day, like I'm gonna fucking make it. You're like,
Right.
okay,
yeah.
yeah. For trying to like develop from there, because I feel like there's a system set up of like, yeah, sending samples and then like let's make a quick beat to this, and there's a lot of opportunity to not be so creative in that.
Mm.
Is there any way that you guys have found is a really good way to be like, "Oh, this is how we can make sure we're doing something new, and it's not just the same as the last 5 Lil Baby albums?"
Yeah, I think that's where our personal projects really come into focus because
Mhm.
like the Nodashi stuff is kind of like the going into work and
Yeah.
putting in hours and stuff like that. And for our own stuff, we really take a lot of creative freedom to just do wherever, like
Mhm.
go wherever the vibe takes us
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think that balance is important for
Mhm.
both sides of the operation.
I feel like also like as an up and coming producer, your job is and kind of should be to just make the artist happy no matter
Yeah.
what. And that's kind of also like what we always say if someone comes in the studio is like, I'm here for you. Like whatever you want to make, like
Yeah.
I've been doing this shit a while. I know how to make all the types
Mhm.
of music that you can rap on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like whatever you want, we'll make it happen. It'll be fine. You'll like it. We might not, but
At the end of the day,
That's the job.
it's a service industry,
yeah.
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
producer.
And like until you're at a level like the Mixu and MacLeods of the world who can be like, yo, you want to be here.
Yeah.
Like right now, we want to be with you.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we want the rapper. We want to get to know this guy. And I mean, for some guys, like for Nahu, for instance, who we have like a whole album with, we've known him for a while, and we've like become like actual friends, and like we'll just hang out. And there, it's a bit more of a creative space, also
Mm.
just because he
Yeah.
allows for that. And
Right.
like some guys are just like interested in like, dude, just like do something weird,
Mhm.
and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But other guys are like, nah, I want this just like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it also like or actually for that project or as a full album or EP, um, was that him coming to you and then being like, I really like what you guys do. Can we do a full project and just bang it out? Or was
Yeah.
it like slowly over time you were working a lot together and then it became something?
I mean, kind of both. Like the project, his project before the one he did with us, we mixed like all of it and we
Mhm.
produced pretty much half. And before that, we've been working for a while, so I
Right.
think we had a pretty comfortable professional relationship.
And we had a big catalog already. And
Yeah.
then I think it was his idea. He was just like, what if we just did an album?
Yeah.
And then we were like, I mean, we have a lot of songs. We already have
We
an
have
album.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was just about picking a couple of them together, finishing
Mhm.
up some stuff.
How much are you revisiting stuff then? Like this is a song and it's like 90%, but if we go back and change some stuff, we can take it up a notch.
Almost never.
Right.
It's like this is like the main difference between like I think like people like our individual projects are very like
Fine tuned.
fine-tuned and weird and like, oh, what about if I did this? And then like, what if I do a little change up here and something happens and da da da. And actually I don't like these vocals. Like I think me especially, but I think you're rather perfectionistic as well.
Yeah.
Whereas most rappers we know, which I think is why they're so successful, don't give a fuck. Like
Mhm.
they're like, I've been
Mhm.
doing this for long enough. This is good.
Yeah.
This is the take. Use
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
And they're usually right.
Yeah.
I respect that. I can't do that. I'm like,
No. Especially when you're working with your own vocals as well. It's a bit
you hear
different though, because you
everything.
hear every little problem.
Yeah.
Do you guys mix your own
Yeah.
artist stuff as well?
Yeah.
We mix and master everything.
I could
Yeah.
afford to have other people mix it. Part of that. Also, I feel like anyone who'd like mix music for me would hate it
Mm.
because I know how everything works,
Yeah.
Mm.
which means I can tell him to do specific things.
Well, that could be really great if you send the track and you're like, this is exactly what I want.
Yeah, but if I'm like out there being like, yeah, man, can you just open up Pro MB and can you go to like between 400 and 600 and like
Yeah.
bump up the threshold to here? And it's just like, he's just like, dude, I don't even have that plugin. Like, this isn't how I mix. It's cool that you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I feel like that would, because I'm super perfectionistic, I feel like I'd make that guy miserable.
Mhm. Do you mix in FL?
Yes, I do. I'm completely in the box on FL.
Have you had the new update that's got a bunch of new stuff in it?
Yes, I
How is
really
it?
like it. I love it. It's got they have stem separation like built into the DAW, which is amazing. They also have like Ableton now. You can adjust the gain in the playlist of samples like directly without opening an envelope or anything like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It just like allows for a lot of fast workflow moves.
Yeah, which is kind of the whole point of FL anyway. It's
Absolutely,
not
yeah.
meant
I
for, like,
really,
orchestration.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of Jonathan always tells me it's like the way I use it is like Ableton, where it's just like just clicking
fast as
shit.
fuck.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I people knock FL a lot for mixing and recording and stuff, but I've had no issues with it. I mean,
Mhm.
I can make things sound just as good as anybody else.
Yeah. I think it's also
Fuck
something
yeah,
where
dude.
it's like it's also like if you're someone who works your workflow is recording in and you like learn on Pro Tools, then when
Right.
you open up that file, you're like, this is garbage. I can't do anything with this.
Absolutely. I
But it's
understand.
because they don't know how
Like,
to use it properly. And
yeah, I think like FL's just like the quintessential PC thing, where it's just like
yeah.
you can do all the stuff. To anyone who's used something that is like been made by Apple people, it's just like needlessly complicated, but it does all the
Yeah.
things, and once you figure it out, it works just as well, and once you're used to that, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I think like Pro Tools and Logic people are just like, dude, like this works like a studio works.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's
if it's
this,
not meant to be a analog studio on a computer, it's meant to be a DAW.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with Ableton. Like I get why people open it up and they're like, there's so many buttons
yeah.
and it's so like so much information to take in. Have you been trying to learn the other one so you can work tied together as a duo?
I mean, we know some things. Like I can record people
Right.
in Logic, and
Yeah. Like, I think we both kinda know Logic and FL just from watching each other,
Mhm.
but and I think both of us have been putting off learning Ableton for
oh
forever.
yeah, that's rough.
It's a very steep learning curve in terms of like the first couple of days of using it. It's
Mm.
just horrible. But then it's so quick.
Yeah. It's one of those where I'm like, every time I sit there, and then I'm like, I just wanna, like, make a loop, and I have
Mhm.
to Google the damn thing, and then I'm like, I
Yeah.
wanna cut the track, and I know all the things I wanna do, and then suddenly it comes to points where you're like, you don't know what the thing you wanna do is called, and it's, like,
Yeah.
super specific, and it I don't know, it does my head in.
For me, it's always like because I use Ableton mostly, using Logic, anytime I wanna change the timing of anything, they're like it's not called warp, it's called flex time.
Mm.
On
Yeah.
Logic is super confusing to me, and I don't know how the fuck it works compared to Ableton. It's just like time up, time down,
Yeah, also,
easy.
I mean, that is what Ableton is best at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for when you're trying to stick to a schedule, you have like a release every 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever. Is it usually both of you working on a track, or one of you is like taking the lead on a track and doing the mixing and mastering or everything? Or is it lots of like back and forth sending files
I mean,
type of work?
yeah, it kind of depends on where the track was recorded. Like if
Right.
it's on if all the stems are on his laptop, he's gonna
It's
mix
just
it
easier.
for the most part. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then during the mixing process, we constantly like send versions to each other, and
And we'll
Mhm.
sit together and just, like, bounce ideas off, but,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah,
there's never really any once we decide a song's gonna get released, the song's already done.
Mhm.
It's just about mixing it.
Right.
mm,
Like, there's not, like, a lot of, like, "Oh, let's add production here and there."
Mhm.
It's usually just, like, either a rapper is like, "Hey, I wanna drop this,"
Yeah.
and then whichever one of us recorded it mixes it and sends it out, and if it's one of our own things, we'll just, like the one that we're about to release, it was
mm,
just, we've had that song for 2 years,
Mhm.
yeah.
and then we were like, "You know what? I think it's time. I think it fits to this project. Let's
Nice.
mix it, finish it,
Yeah.
get a video going."
You have a producer tape coming up.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is it a Notashi EP with a bunch of different artists, or like what's the setup?
Exactly. It's like a collection of
It's a
work that
mixtape.
we've been. Yeah, it is a mixtape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've just been making songs for years now, and we have a lot laying around that are good as well.
Mhm.
With kind of our social circle that we work with as well, and we just thought it's time to
Yeah, I mean, we
put it
just have,
out.
like, a big catalog of stuff with people that most guys don't know,
Mhm.
and so we just thought, like, the whole idea of, like, "Hey, Nodashi and our friends,"
Mm.
rather than, like, "Look at this cool rapper that we kinda know and,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
got a song with," but, like,
It's more of
I
like
don't hang out with that
a
guy on a
Nigo, the
Tuesday.
I Know Nigo
Yeah.
album versus like the DJ Khaled thing where it's like, look, big names we can get.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just people we like, songs that are, like, getting obnoxiously old, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this needs to come out at some point. If it doesn't come out now, it never will.
Mhm.
And so we have like 2 mixtapes planned, and this is the first
Nice.
one, and just to like get them all gone
Yeah.
and then be able to focus on something new.
Is there a big goal for nodashi? It can be long term, like having a big studio that you share, or working with specific artists or anything like that?
I think, yeah, like a big studio would be nice. I mean, we
Mm.
like got a pretty pimpin' setup already, but yeah, like I think the end goal is to, hit the charts, make a bunch of money, uh, and then have people begging us that they can make music with us.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because then we get to actually do what's fun, which
Mhm.
is pick an artist that's really good,
Yeah.
that we really like see a vision in, and we don't have to care if we're gonna make a bunch of money with it, and then sit down for like 3 weeks in some house in Austria and
Yeah.
fucking make an album.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the goal right now, I think.
Yeah. What's the kind of studio setup you guys really need? Because if it's mostly in the bugs, apart from vocals, you feel like you really benefit from like a live drum set or anything like
I
that?
mean, I think it's mainly just making it a space that we don't also sleep in
Yeah.
is a big thing because it's both of our bedrooms that
Yeah.
are just studios with beds in them.
Right.
And yeah, just having a place where you can not work and sleep at the same time
Yeah.
is
It's also just so much
beneficial.
healthier, like
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, having like a big live setup would change a lot of the things we do, I think. Like,
Change the music a lot.
yeah, I
Mm.
think it's not about like we don't need those things. It's just we don't have those things.
Yeah.
And like I mean, a drum set is literally impossible in an apartment.
Mm.
Yeah.
But like even just setting up the 2 mics for a guitar and then like getting it all cabled out and back in because like I have like this big phone booth where all my shit's
Right.
plugged into and I only have an Apollo, so I can only do 2 mics at a time. And then like
Mhm.
you could only record one instrumentalist, so you couldn't get like a jam session or something going.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like that's kinda where the magic happens, is like if you got like a real studio setup and you can have like 5 or 6 musicians just playing at the same time,
Yeah.
like you can make completely different music.
Mhm. Is there anything that like I mean, with hip hop production, it's like it's so perfect for in the box, the way the music sounds and everything,
Mm.
doing everything digitally. Is there something that is really interesting to you? Like, if you get the opportunity to have that kind of setup, would you want to do more like instrumental hip hop, or would you want to go more into like funk and soul type of like? Is there a different genre that's really interesting for you
Absolutely.
guys?
I mean, I'd really be into doing soul music, like just a
Mhm.
soul project, because that's what I've been listening to for a while now. And you can't get like that just that emotion
Yeah,
from a box. Like it doesn't work.
super hot.
You
Yeah,
need
Yeah.
you need people who've made it like their entire life's work to study these instruments
yeah,
and be able to communicate through them
hmm
to just make that, and that's impossible without a space
yeah,
and instruments and people and all that shit.
hmm And you?
I think it changes like every 2 months,
Right.
which is why it's nice if you have a setup like that because then it's like,
Doesn't matter if it changes every 2 months because you can just do it.
yeah, I wanna do hard rock right now.
Mhm.
And then like 2 months later, it's like, "Oh, actually, I'm getting really into hyper pop, so I'm just gonna do everything in the box."
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, "Hey, what about some some nice funky jazz?"
Mm.
And then you can just get a bunch of musicians in. Like, the nice thing about hip hop production is it goes really fast,
Mhm. Yeah.
so you can make a whole project's worth of music within 3 days,
Yeah.
especially if you have other musicians there with you who are like, whenever your creative juice starts running out, they just have an idea and they're like, "Oh, I'm back."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can kinda, like, run through all the genres and get everything going,
Mhm.
and you could just have songwriting camps at the studio
Yeah.
rather than, like, having to, like, organize a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of music are you guys listening to usually apart from hip hop?
There's, like, 3 things. There's hip hop for, like, nerdy reasons
Mhm.
to, like, just see what's going on, and sometimes it's really cool. Then I listen to a lot of, like, Chet Baker and Men I Trust,
Right.
just, like, for nice vibey background music.
Yeah.
And by myself, I listen to almost exclusively super depressing music,
Like what?
like sad hyperpop kids,
Hell
and
yeah.
just like I don't know, like some good singer-songwriter, like alti sad boy music, man.
Mhm.
Just whatever gets me in the feels usually works. Like recently I've been getting really into like Quadeca.
Oh, no.
Bro, he's so good. Like he used to be this like funny YouTube producer
Mm.
who would like I'm sure you've seen it. He has like went viral a bunch of times with like styles of rap where he did
Maybe,
like
yeah.
20 styles of rap.
I think yeah, I know who that
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
is,
was
it
one of
was
the
yeah.
this
first people
like
to do that.
nerdy little kid who played soccer and made crappy rap songs, but then he like, grew up and was like, yeah, I can like do all this stuff. And suddenly he's like these super spaced out, super weird concept albums. Like the last one he made is like the whole concept is that he's a ghost and he
Right.
died and he's speaking from the perspective of being a dead ghost and like talking to his family and friends.
That's so fucking edgy.
It's super exactly.
It's just gonna be, like, stressful as fuck to put out because, like, then you have to go talk to your family and friends,
Right.
and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, so you said this." And like,
Yeah.
yeah. That's also the Joji, like, funny YouTube rapper to, like,
Yeah,
high art
exactly.
pipeline.
Exactly. Big fan of Joji as well.
Yeah.
It's
Good stuff.
just sad. You just like being sad.
Yeah, I love sad music.
And what about you?
I've been listening to a lot of soul lately,
Mhm.
like Cool and the Gang and
Oh, okay.
Durando and that type of thing. I really like that a lot because I haven't listened to like acoustic music in a long time.
Mhm.
But also just like Erica Badu
Right.
and then just like trap, like Bash for the World and Lucky and all those people
Mhm.
type thing. Yeah.
You recently released an EP, Wie Schattenfallen?
Yeah, I did.
Are you trying to like that project's finished off? Are you trying to move in a different direction with the next thing or just see what happens?
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place stylistically. I feel
Mhm.
like I just last
You're a
week
chameleon.
exactly. I feel like I am a bit of a creative chameleon. Like last week we did I was at a
Hey, great
session.
album name, man.
Yeah,
Creative. Actually, just an artist name.
creative chameleon.
Kind of fire.
What kind of music would a creative chameleon make?
Well,
It'd be a lot of
the
pressure to do
creative,
a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
multifaceted. The thing you do.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I think I'm gonna move a little. The next couple songs that are dropping are a lot more like standard trap oriented because
Yeah.
I do want to make money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be I'm trying to be a little more commercial, but I really like I started out making hyper pop and that sphere always kind of has a little spot in my heart.
Yeah. What's the sort of the money layout in terms of like as a producer? Are you making money through charging a day rate or is it through streaming like splits or what's the kind of
Well,
situation with that?
streaming is rough,
Garbage. Yeah.
but
It's about to get worse.
yeah, I know. That is crazy. But yeah, no, we make like $2 a year off of streaming.
Right.
It's
But
a little more than that.
it's a little more than
It's like
that.
25.
Yeah, it's like a dinner for one of us.
Right.
No, but like I'll have people come to the apartment to record, and then they'll pay for studio time if they
Right.
haven't produced. If they aren't like a bigger artist. Like
Mhm.
what we do with Nodashi is the artist would come and then we split 50-50.
Right.
And we'd have like mix and master be free, but
Yeah.
we release
yeah,
it
it's pretty, like,
together
normal
on
for-
our page and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Zon's like mixing and mastering has
Mhm.
been
That's really like
that's
like
the-
you'll sell beats sometimes because like some rap, like as soon as like a guy's like in a big label, like it's not the rapper who's paying you, it's the label who's paying you, and
Yeah.
they're not that cool with just splitting it down the middle.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so-
they're cooler with paying more for
exactly,
upfront.
and you
Right.
get some upfront money, but the main thing really is like you can mix for anyone,
Mhm.
and like it's like right, like you can't just produce for like some random kid who makes terrible music in your opinion.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't feel good to you and it also like cheapens you as an artist
Yeah.
if you're
And
not
it's hard to
it's hard
make
to like
something
make
that they
something
like if it's
yeah
something you really don't like. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like if that kid
Yikes.
if that kid just like, you know, has his song and he wants it to sound better,
Yeah.
just like, hey man, give me $200 and I'll make it sound good. Like
Yeah.
Mm.
How are you finding people for that? Is it like through Fiverr or is it through networking?
I've been trying Fiverr, but it's a slow game on Fiverr.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's also like a lot of competition, right? Because everyone's got a
Yeah.
Fiverr account set up.
Also, I don't know. We're not great at like marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a thing that we really need to work on a little bit more.
But it's mainly networking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like like some dude will like know that we mixed this guy's song.
Yeah.
Like I've been mixing pretty much everything that Esco puts out. And so just because like one day I told him like, hey man, like trying to mix for people. Like,
Mhm.
I'm good.
He's
And then he was like,
like,
okay.
oh, I know like 5 people that need mixes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then you just gotta keep annoying people about it. Just be like,
Yeah.
hey man, don't forget, like, got the thing, I can do it.
Mhm.
And like slowly build up a network that way.
Yeah. You put out your first single in 2022, right? Am I thinking?
I have no idea.
At least on Apple Music, that's what I said.
Yeah.
But you've been making music for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Was it like a active decision to be like, I want the music to be at the level that's really, really professional before releasing? Or was it more like, oh, I'm not comfortable releasing stuff because I'm not confident yet?
I didn't record my voice
Hmm.
up until 2 years ago.
Right.
Or like whenever I did, it wasn't like a serious attempt.
Hmm.
But then Gus and a friend of mine, Hauro, made a song where there was still a verse open.
Right.
And it was my shit because it was depressing.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, hey, fuck it, let me try a thing. And then I tried a thing and it was good. And I'd never recorded something good. And then suddenly I was like, whoa, what if I made music myself? And then that kind of spurred on like just getting into the like my own artist project.
Hmm.
And funny enough, that song is now like being incorporated into like an album that me and Hauro are making. We're called SMS. We're a band. It's cute. Uh, but that's been my main focus. Like the stuff that's on like my Spotify and Apple Music was really just like, hey, you should put out music.
Yeah.
Just
Just to have something.
just like I don't know. I made this song. It was fine.
Yeah.
Listen, you like it? Cool. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like it's not like a deep passion project yet. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the thing we're working on.
That's also like to do a deep passion project, you really have to have something to say, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest part of actually putting together an album.
Yeah, because usually I'm just like, I have shit to talk about. I don't care.
I just like sitting in my room and making music. I don't
Yeah.
have something to say. Yeah.
That's why I kind of like the solo project right now to just be like random shit, like
Mhm.
whatever. Like I don't know. I made another song. Listen to it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just to people like to be like, hey, I do make music. It is present,
Mhm.
and then that gives you the time to be like, okay, let's make a real thing
Yeah.
and like give it the time it needs until it really is perfect.
Yeah.
And watch that flop, and then
What's your guys' background like musically? Was production your first introduction to doing music, or your learning instruments as kids, or anything like that?
Nah, I was playing violin since I was like 4 because my
Right.
mom
Same.
decided to it was important.
Hmm.
And I really disliked that for a long time. But
You still play it?
no.
Same.
but I mean, at the end of the day, that was the introduction to music, and it's very good that she made me go to all those lessons,
Yeah.
even though I never practiced, because it gave me like a base,
Mhm.
like a knowledge base to just like feel music a little
Yeah.
more than people who
Have some rhythm, know what scales are.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And both my parents are musical. Like my dad plays jazz piano, and my mom was like in a choir.
Mhm.
And so it was kind of always stuff playing growing up.
I mean, what kind of choir? Like a
Like a church
Christian
choir,
church? Yeah.
but yeah, I wasn't I was more into the jazz
Right.
aspect.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom. Don't be mad.
There it is.
What about you?
I like tried trumpet for like 6 months.
Trumpet's pretty cool. I wish I could play trumpet.
I thought it was like a cool idea until I realized what it means to play a brass instrument.
Right.
And it means that your lips hurt a lot,
Mm.
especially if you're 12 and you don't like things hurting to like have fun.
Yeah.
And so I quit that pretty fast.
Right.
And then honestly, I think like my dad was in bands for a long time, and he like works in audiobooks now, and so he's been like doing music forever. And when I was 15, I was a big time gamer, like most dudes.
Mhm.
And I think my dad just like kind of like was like, "Hey man, like you should try GarageBand. Like I think you might."
Mhm.
I think he was just like, "I really hope my son just finds music at some point."
Doesn't keep.
And then like I just started nerding around with it, and I got really into it. And then I sold all my Counter-Strike skins and bought an interface and just started producing,
Nice.
just like with no knowledge whatsoever of any
Yeah.
music. And yeah, trying to learn
Mhm.
instruments now, but it was mainly just looking at ungodly amounts of YouTube tutorials on how to make things sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you sort of figured out production is a thing?
Yeah, that was in high school. There were kids a little older than us. Gabriel,
Yeah.
he's also a very great artist in Berlin. He was just on his laptop making beats, and I was like, "What the fuck are you
What's
doing?"
this? Yeah.
And like he just put the headphones on, and I was listening, and it was just incredible. Like I was mind blown. Like it never had occurred to me that you can make music on a laptop. And I was like, I want to do that. And then I started doing that.
Nice. We're kind of coming to the end. I wanted to ask that I saw on your Instagram you do some modeling.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with that?
My mom used to model.
Oh, okay, right.
We're just brilliant examples of nepotism. No, but she didn't get me a spot,
Mhm.
but she was like, "Hey, you're tall and skinny. Let's take some pictures." And then
Right.
like I applied to a bunch of agencies, got into one, never got a job for a year,
Mm.
lost faith, quit that one, got a DM from some dude who was like, "Hey, you're really cool. You should like go to Italy and France. Like just buy a ticket and go there and I'll get you an agency." And I was like 18 and bored, and I was like, "Flights are cheap, whatever, I'll do it." And then suddenly like I had an agency in France and Italy, and then like did Fashion Week and
Damn.
got some jobs. It was really random.
Just happened.
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of like I mean, I wanted it. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
I'll do it, whatever. Like
Yeah.
this was like at a point in my life where like I had just started music school.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. I like was bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
Starting to lose faith in music, kind of, and then like found this thing that I could make a bunch of money with. Then COVID
Nice.
hit, and all of that stopped,
And
and then we
both
started
options were
Nodashi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're coming up on 45 minutes. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Or you can do promotion or whatever.
Let's promote some things.
Yeah. I'm dropping on the 7th of December.
So
I don't
it's
know
out,
when.
out already.
Yeah, it's out
When
already.
10th is out.
It's called Hefte Hefte. It's with me and our other roommate, Jen, who's
Nice.
also a rapper and a very talented DJ. So
Yeah.
listen to that.
Shout out Gin is Juicy.
Shout out Jen is Juicy.
We have a song coming out on hopefully the 22nd
Mhm.
of December,
Nice.
if not the 29th. We'll see.
We
But within that realm, it's called Bus. It's with one of our first collaborators called Vic Dior, who's a lovely little boy. That sounded bad.
that was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that'll be
anyway, we
interesting.
got a
Clip
cool
this.
video. It's super atzig and intense and stupid, and it'll be fun.
Nice.
And sometime next year, I'm gonna drop an album with my boy band. So if you still remember me from then, like check me out.
Cool. Yeah. Then I've got to do mine. So thank you everyone for listening. I've got a single out, Another Day Gone. Go check that out. It's everywhere. And leave us a review. It helps a lot for the podcast. And thanks to both of you guys for coming to talk.
Thanks for
Sponsor the
having
show,
us.
guys.
Please.
Send me money on PayPal.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.